Good morning, everybody. My name's Daniel Thomas Freeman, and I'm presenting with Ashling McCann today, who's over there warming up. We are both postgraduate researchers, actually, in sound arts at the University of Arts London, and we've got a very late-minute edition. So my wife and the writer, Valerie Alden Freeman, she's going to be helping doing some narration today as well. So, we are bringing two excerpts from Listening in the Dark, which is a sound meditation that we've run, Val and I have run 3 times in recent months, and that's a series of sound meditations. Today we're going to bring 2 excerpts. One we're going to run. It's not the normal meditation we'd have. Ask people to bring mats. It's often in the evening, get the lights down. So it's just going to give you a taster, but it will give you an idea of what the meditations are about. So that will be audio only with some brief readings before. And then the second excerpt, which is something new for myself and Ashling. She suggested, what would the piece look like with choreography? She comes from a dance background. So I think it's adding a really interesting dimension to it, and it's really exciting to me to see where that's going. Let me tell you a bit about the project. So Listening in the Dark comes from a long-term project I've been running called Strange Weather Documents, which is where I've been creating imaginings of the future sound of nature using analog and digital synthesizer electronics. Now, these mimickings, you might hear them as birdsong, as waves, as wind, as mammalian grunts, as burrowing in the earth, as tremors in the earth, whale song, designed to provoke empathy with the more than human. So trying to make some sort of connection between our human, very technological age and with nature as both a response to and lament of climate change, but also trying to push us beyond to the divine, to some sort of connection there to get us out of our isolation, get us away from conflict, get us away from late-stage capitalism, just to try and push us into that divine space, because of course that's good for our souls, and that's whatever faith or non-faith tradition you come from. And we've run these meditations in both secular and faith environments. Some examples of references. So from the sound aspect, there's Eliane Radigue, who unfortunately, she's just passed away at the ripe old age of 94. Her long-form slow change music is a big inspiration there. There's the sort of visceral tectonics of Mika Vania, who used to be in Panasonic, if that means anything to you. There is Mariana Macha, who did a lot of work with sound in rooms and putting speakers on the floor and actually making the architecture vibrate. And there's also the seminal field recordist Chris Watson, and particularly his album Weather Report from 2003. And there is a connection there because when I introduce these meditations, that we've done them to one art audience, but mainly it's been mainstream church audiences. And it's been very interesting to me that I've introduced the sounds of saying, imagine you're watching a David Attenborough nature documentary, but with your eyes shut. Where would that go? And it's been very interesting to see what people have done with that and the experiences they've had. So maybe you'll have something of that today. I don't know. It's a very short excerpt, but who knows? Textual references. So there's J.G. Ballard with, forgotten the name of the book, but it'll come back to me. There's also The Life After Doom, Brian McLaren's recent book about climate change. And there's another climate change book called Climate Thanatology by Heidi Hart. If you want to know the choreographical references or where things are coming from, have a word with Ashling afterwards, and I'm sure she'd be delighted to tell you where it's coming from. Right, so I think I've covered enough about the project, and let me tell you what to expect for about the next 25 minutes. So we will start with a moment of silence. So you might want to just get yourself comfortable. Now, the floor's really hard, so you might want to sit on the floor, but it's really hard. So probably just sit in your seats. Make sure you might want to put both your feet on the ground. Just get your body nice and relaxed. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You might want to close your eyes for the first section. There's not going to be a lot to see unless you look up into the rafters and the glorious stained glass windows. Val will come up and do a couple of readings, but they're very short, and then we'll go into the first audio section, which will be about 9 minutes long. Then Val will do another couple of very short readings, and then Ashling will come across and do a choreography. And then we'll break the end. I'll say one of the quotes again, and that will be the end. But I should say, as a nice connection to Caroline's presentation, actually, is that we are heading to silence. Okay, so things will be quite busy at points, but that's part of the point. We're trying to connect with the fizz of nature. But we are going down to a very quiet, still place, and we're going to end with 2 minutes of silence before I break it with the last reading. So it's a bit of an experiment bringing Ashling in. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's going to give it a different dimension, and I hope there's something in this that you enjoy or that you find useful. So, Val, would you come up and ready to do the readings? And that's the first one there. Okay, so you want to sit over there? So, yeah, get yourself comfortable. You might want to just focus on your breathing for a minute. You don't have to change your breathing. Just be aware of it. Just listen to the noise in the room for a moment. And I'll hand over to Val.
To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. That's William Blake. And from another William Shakespeare. There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. from BBC Earth. Under the waves, light vanishes. At 1,000 meters down, sunlight disappears entirely. The deep ocean, the largest habitat on Earth, is also the darkest. As light becomes increasingly irrelevant underwater, sound becomes more important. Baleen whales sing to each other with rumbling, low moans and growls. Blue whales can make calls just 14 hertz in frequency, inaudible to our ears. Because low frequency sounds travel further with less scattering, distortion, and transmission loss, they can communicate to each other over thousands of kilometers. And Henry Nouwen writes, "Maybe I have been living much too fast, too restlessly, too feverishly, forgetting to pay attention to what is happening here and now, right under my nose. A whole world of beauty can be discovered in one flower."
to see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. Thank you for your time.